Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. So, it's already July and the first half of the year 2021 has already finished. And so for today, I am going to do a mid-year book freakout tag. But before we begin, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click that notification bell so that you will always get notified whenever I upload new videos like this one. So, let's start! Okay, so just a few stats lang for the first half of 2021. From January to June, I was able to read 45 books. And grabe, parang yung Goodreads goal ko was to read 52 books for the entire year. And for the first half, I was already able to read 45. So, I think I am very much ahead of my Goodreads goal. Although for the month of June, 2 books lang yung nabasa ko, but they're really very big books. Let's start with the mid-year book freakout tag. So the first question is, what is the best book I've read for the first half of the year? So I think for the best book that I have read, it will go to Brandon Sanderson's The Hero of Ages. So The Hero of Ages is the third and final book in the Mistborn trilogy. Ito talaga yung favorite ko because I think sobrang daming revelations yung nangyari dito sa book na to that I was really mind blown. Parang wow, paano nangyari? All the threads, all the revelations, all the plot twists in this final book really made me feel a lot of respect for Brandon Sanderson and really made me fall in love with his writing. And right now, he is an auto-buy author that I want to read all of his books. So yep, definitely best book I've read so far, The Hero of Ages. And I think for the second question would be the best sequel you've read for the first half of the year. And this would still be my answer because I think this is as I mentioned, the third book in the Mistborn trilogy. So ito din talaga yung best sequel. So guys, if you still haven't read Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn trilogy, I super highly recommend for you to pick this up. If you really want a journey like no other with a lot of plot twists and turns that will really keep you at the edge of your seat. So, yep, this is something for you. And then the third question is, what is a new release that you haven't read yet? So I think a new release that I haven't read yet is Cassandra Clare's Chain of Iron. I think Chain of Iron released earlier this year around March, and I haven't read it yet because actually I haven't read all the previous books in the series before you can get to this. I started in the reading already those books, the first 3 books in the Mortal Instruments, and then the Infernal Devices I've already read. So I'll still have to read a lot more. I think the next 3 books in the Mortal Instruments and the Dark Artifices I still have to read before I can get to the Last Hour series and before I can finally read Chain of Iron. But I think it would be a very good journey. So hoping to complete the Shadowhunter Chronicles by the end of the year, or maybe before the third book in the Last Hour series comes out early next year. So, yep. And then the next question is, what is your most anticipated release for the next half of the year? I can't really think about what I've been looking forward to, but what I thought about is Jade Legacy, which is the third book in Fondeli's Greenbone saga. And I told myself that I will just buy all the 3 books once the Jade Legacy comes out later this year. So I'm looking forward to that, so I can buy the 3 books and then start binge reading that series because I've heard a lot of good things about Fondeli's Jade War series or the Green Bone Saga. So definitely something to look forward to. And then the next question is, what is my biggest disappointment for the year? So I think number one would be The Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. So if you've watched my previous wrap-up videos, so you will see that really this is the book that took me a lot of months to finish, and I was really bored with the story because it was just a lot of war preparations, which has also been the same happenings or theme in the second installment of in this series. And I think this wrapped up very abruptly. Parang ang bilis nung final scene, and it was really underwhelming na parang all those preparations for war, tas parang sa dulo, yun lang yung nangyari. And parang may na-open pa na bagong questions in my mind at the end of the book. I don't know if that's supposed to like be a cliffhanger kasi gusto nilang ituloy for another like series, but yun, parang ang dami pang questions na natira in my mind that was just hanging there in the last few pages of the book. And overall talaga, I was really bored with this book. That's why it was a big disappointment for me, because ang dami kong nabasa na good reviews about the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor, but I think it's really just not for me. And I think another disappointment would be I know would be an unpopular opinion, would be V. Schwab's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed this book and I liked it, kasi I think it's impossible for me not to like a V. Schwab book. So again, V. Schwab has been my favorite author this year as well, and I think I have enjoyed everything that I've read so far, and I'll be reading more of her works. But this one, I think, was a disappointment for me because this has been a very hyped book, and there had been a lot of reviews saying na you will really cry with this book, na masakit daw talaga yung book na to. But surprisingly, I wasn't invested in the story. I didn't cry at all. That's why it was a big disappointment for me. But again, I still enjoyed it. I still gave it 4 stars, and still a good book. But really, it didn't just pull me in and suck me in, and I didn't feel the investment in the characters here. But still, I think it's really just not for me. But of course, still a very good book by V. Schwab. And then the biggest surprise for the year, I think it would be The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. Again, if you've seen my previous wrap of videos, you will see why. But this book was really a surprise for me because number one, wala siya sa TBR ko, and I haven't heard about this book or this author before, and I was just passing by Fully Booked one time, and I saw this, and it was just like calling out to me. And I said, why? Okay, let's give it a try. And really, I was really surprised because first chapter pa lang, I was sucked into the story. I was really very invested in the love story of our characters here. And grabe, the pain that I felt all throughout this book. I really cried a lot, especially at the end. And again, this is a love story that is good for those Colleen Hoover fans out there, kasi it's the same kind of heart-breaking, heart-wrenching love story that will really leave you in tears. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, please check out The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. And then I think the next question is, who is your new favorite authors? So new favorite authors would definitely be V. Schwab. New favorite authors would definitely be V. Schwab and Brandon Sanderson. So, as I mentioned a while ago, the first book I've read by Brandon Sanderson would be the Mistborn trilogy. And since I super love that trilogy, I told myself I'm going to read all Brandon Sanderson's books. And I think you can see here at my shelf, I have the Stormlight archives there, and I'm hoping to get to those all as well. And also, aside from Baron Sanderson, V. Schwab is also my new favorite author for this year. My favorites are really the Shades of Magic trilogy by V. Schwab, and after that, all the books that I've read by V. Schwab I really liked. I think Vicious and Vengeful, A Dark Duet, A Savage Song and a Dark Duet. All those books I really loved. So I think Brandon Sanderson and V. Schwab will really be my all-time favorite fantasy authors and autobi authors. I'll be reading any book that they put out. Next question is, who is your newest fictional crush? So my newest fictional crush, which I read just this June, would be, of course, Cassian from A Court of Frost and Starlight. So, reading The Court of Frost and Starlight, sobrang naging crush ko talaga si Cassian. And I think even before naman, in the previous ACOTAR books, I also liked Cassian, but of course, my ultimate crush before was Rhysand. And since A Court of Frost and Starlight, the focus has been Cassian and Nesta, I really felt kung gaano ka-caring and ka-gentleman itong si Cassian to Nesta. So, Cassian is my newest fictional crush for this year. The next question is, who is your newest fave character? So, newest fave character, I think from the Shades of Magic trilogy, that would be Lila and Kel. But I think that's popular opinion, but another one who is my fave character, and I think is an unpopular opinion, would be Helene Aquila from A Sky Beyond the Storm or the An Ember in the Ashes series. So a lot of people don't like Helene because she is an antagonist in the story, but reading all throughout the 4 books, I saw behind the tough facade that Helene puts out, and I really saw kung ano ba yung emotions behind that, her motivations, kung bakit ganun yung mga decisions that she did. And I think at the back of that mask and that tough facade is really a girl who just wants to live peacefully with her family and with her loved ones. So, sobrang na-invest ako dun sa journey ni Helene Aquila all throughout this series. So, yep, I love Helene, and I love her backstory, and I love her journey, her arc throughout this 4 books in the An Ember in the Ashes series. So, if you haven't read An Ember in the Ashes series, please also check it out. It's really a good series. And then continuing off would be, what are the books that made you cry? So again, the books that made me cry, as I mentioned a while ago, would be The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. So ito talaga, sobrang iyak ko dito, especially in the last part. So really something to pick up if you want that heart-wrenching love story. And also, I also cried here at the end of Sky Beyond the Storm. So I think it's not a lot of people yung magsasabi na they cried because of the series, but for me, I did cry at the end of Sky Beyond the Storm. And of course, I don't want to spoil you by telling you why I cried at the end, but really just the story and the journey of all these characters, and that what happened at the end of this made me cry. So again, read the Emperor in the Ashes Quartet, so it's really good. And then after that, books that made me cry, what are books that made me happy? So I think the book that made me most happy that I read for the first half of the year is again Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. So I really love the ACOTAR series, as in that series parang college. I think college pa. I super loved it already. And finishing it years before, and I've been rereading it a lot all throughout this year. So parang And now, finally, a new book came out. So parang when I was reading this, it was like coming home. It was like reading about your friends or your long lost friends and reconnecting with them again. So it felt like home itong pagbabasa ko nitong A Court of Silver Flames. So it's really a very enjoyable read for me, and also seeing yung mga characters before which I loved, like Rhysand and Feyre, and they're still here in this book, and I'm still happy that I got to see how they are now, and also of course to learn more about Cassian and Nesta. So really, this is really just a very enjoyable read for me, and it really made me happy. So A Court of Silver Flames. And then the next question is, a book. What is the most beautiful book that you've bought or purchased so far this year? And I think that would be the special edition books of Clockwork Angel and City of Bones. Ayan. Sobrang pretty niya kasi. Look at that. These are gold foiling details. Super pretty. There. And this one, itong City of Bones, it also has gold sprayed edges. Look at that. Yeah. So I think these are the most beautiful books that I've bought this year, and also I think the most beautiful books in my entire collection. So very happy I got this as well. Next question in the book tag is, what are the books that you still need to read for the rest of the year? So I think the books that I really wanted to finish for the rest of the year would be the Stormlight Archives. Here you can see it at my back. So for the month of June, I was already able to finish the first installment, which is The Way of Kings, and I can say that it's really very epic in scope, and I can't wait to get into the other 3 books to really get more engrossed into the world of the Stormlight Archives, and I think that it would really be a very, very enjoyable journey. But yun lang, in June nga, as I told you, I was just able to read 2 books. Yung 2 books na yun would be The Way of Kings and itong A Court of Silver Flames. And it's because, kaya dalawa lang kasi yung Way of Kings, it's actually the first book that I've read na ganun kahaba. It's 1,000 pages, and yung print niya, yung text niya is super small talaga. So I think it took me 2.5 weeks, or I think 3 weeks to finish that book. So I'm just preparing myself to get to the next 3 books. So I think dapat hindi ko siya like sabay-sabayin one after the other. So I'll pace it out throughout the rest of the year, so that I won't be burnt out, diba? And maybe read some palette cleansers in between. But yeah, that would be my priority for the rest of the year, to finish the Stormlight Archives, and also my read of the Shadowhunter Chronicles. I hope to finish all the rest of the books before the coming out of the 3rd book in the Last Hour series early next year. So yeah, those are all the books that I want to get to for the rest of the year. And that's it for my mid-year Freakout book tag. So I hope you enjoyed, guys, and please let me know in the comments down below what are your answers as well for these questions, and if we have the same answers, please also let me know down below. And if you have any other book recommendations that you think I will enjoy, please also let me know. So thank you, guys, and see you again soon. Stay curious and stay fabulous. Goodbye!